Alright, Outlaw Radio Live fans, we are live on the air with none other than Mikey D and DJ Trouble Lee. How you guys doing this evening?
Chilling, chilling, chilling. Good, good, good. We're on quarantine lockdown over here, though. we locked down. We got to do it live from the phone booth.
Honestly, man, I don't blame you. Here in Canada, our country's pretty much shut down as well. You know, airports, via rail shut down, stores are shut down, and people are going crazy over toilet paper.
Yeah, it's serious out here too.
I felt like I was gonna get jumped the other day. Actually, coming back home with a pack of toilet paper, man. People were mean mugging me and stuff, man. I thought I'd get jumped over some money, but I didn't think I'd get jumped over toilet paper.
Well, see, now this just goes to show you who's full of SHIT, because they the ones that's buying out all the toilet paper.
And that's true, man. That is most definitely true. And I have to ask you guys, what made you guys decide to get into the music industry?
Oh, you want to answer that one?
Alright, for me, I was following my cousin back in 1978 in North Carolina. His name was DJ Gangsta Gales back then. And I used to go to North Carolina in the summertime with my parents and whatnot. And he had like a component set. And I didn't find this out till later, he used to get tapes from the Bronx from actually the legendary DJ Pete Jones, who was going out with his cousin on his other side of the family. So I got influenced through Bronx hip hop in North Carolina by going down there, which is ironic, being I lived in Brooklyn. And so when we started getting tapes and stuff, he started making these mixtapes with a component set. And we were listening to jams like, like Invisible Man Band, and all the Cold Crush tapes and stuff like that, early Flash tapes and stuff like that. And then by the time I got to Brooklyn, I heard hip hop everywhere. Like somebody turned on a light switch for me, and I was hooked. And yeah, and then from that, I started DJing, like playing clubs by the time I was 13 and 12, where I couldn't even stay out, but I used to hang out with older cats who was older than me, and they used to be like my bodyguards and whatnot, because I was too young to hang out anywhere. And so, so that influenced me, as well as, just being in the neighborhood and any local DJs that was a little older than me. And then I was young, I got the name Trouble from wanting to battle everybody. They were like, yo, you're a little troublemaker. Yo, you DJ Trouble, that's your name. From like time I was like 12, 11. I was talking junk. I was like, I battle your whole crew. I only weigh about 80 pounds. Yeah. And so, but it was a little competitive sport, and it was fun. How about you, Mike?
Man, they already know. As for me, it was my man Derek from next door. His grandmother used to live next to me, and he was from Harlem. He used to come down with the Cold Crush tapes and the Kumo D tapes and all of that. So when I heard Grandmaster Caz spit and the Mo D joint, that was it for me, man. I went next door, rode around, and it was off to the races. Then dealing with several different groups in the neighborhood, the Phenomenal Four, Money Making Three. Then I finally got an opportunity to get with a more established group in the neighborhood, which was the Clientele Brothers. And then after that, I really took it serious, man. So it was definitely Cold Crush and Treacherous Three, Grandmaster Caz, and Kumo D.
Yeah, even adding to that, like when I heard Convention 82 changed my life, I really wanted to be Theodore with the echoes and on the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Theodore, cut the law.
Legendary status.
Yeah.
Theodore, like Flash was like the main cat on record, but when I heard them Theodore tapes from Convention 82, that like changed me. Like I just wanted to learn how the needle drop and all that before I even knew what needle dropping was.
Right.
And I have to ask both of you guys, man, how did you guys get connected? How did the legendary duo of Mikey D and DJ Trouble Lee get together?
Yo, was that amazing Outlaw? Tough Tom introduced us, right?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, it was Tough Tom.
Oh, okay.
Tough was my DJ partner in high school. So, like,
right.
throughout high school, me and Tuff used to cut school and go to like Canal Hi-Fi and like Downstairs Records, Rock and Soul, and we'll just go beat digging. We'll cut school, go to all the thrift shops digging for records. So and what's this, like around 95 to 97, I was working in Jersey with my partner Hal Martin doing the Holland Tunnel project, and producing like Rebels of Authority. And then he said, yo, Mikey, I think I wanted to get Mikey on the Holland Tunnel joint. That's how I think it started.
Because I remember he brought me to your crib in Brooklyn.
Oh, word?
He got
me on that.
Yeah, this was prior to New Jersey joint. When he first introduced me to you, we went to your crib in Brooklyn. And I remember you had all the records and all of that stuff all around the apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was it. And then I remember when you was in Jersey, when you was working on that project, I had just got off of the main source thing, actually. I had went through all of that, finally got released from Wild Pitch and all of that. So,
Yeah.
Jersey. But it was definitely your crib. The amazing L. Ron brought me to your crib. Tough Tom.
Shout out to Tough, DJ Damski, his brother.
Facts. That's when you had the long hair, remember?
It's back. It's back long again.
All right, got you.
Sounds like I'm bringing back some old good memories for you guys.
Yeah, facts. Definitely.
Yeah, that was like amazing time being in the studio back then. Like the studio's in this warehouse, and it had like an Amic Mozart board up in there, and that's where we used to just drive from Brooklyn to Jersey. Yeah, and just stay in the studio all day and all night, just cutting tracks after tracks. And it was just amazing time just doing music at that point. It was just like breathing air.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And I have to ask you guys both put together one hell of a legendary record that still actually gets a lot of plays today. It's called Dramacide. I have to ask you both, what's the story and inspiration behind that iconic record that both of you guys did together?
Well, for me, like me storytelling, I usually write things that go on around me, or things that not actually things that I do, but things that I see. And at the time that I linked up with Trub and we was up in Jersey, he was going through beats and all of that. So the beat that he did, like I had Dramacide pre-written, but it went with that beat. So, actually, before Dramacide, it was the other one, Trub. Remember Killers on Wax?
Yeah, Killers on Wax. And JQY was my joint, though. Like,
yeah, but Dramacide definitely, Trub had the tracks, you know what I mean, and it just went well together. But the rhyme was pre-written, based on, events that I saw, that were going on at the time.
And I have to ask this. One of my favorite songs from that record is actually Back to the Future. I have to ask you both, what's the story behind that track, and was it actually inspired by the movie?
Actually, what happened, like, the studio had closed down, and I went back to the studio, and it was like going through a time warp. It was like an abandoned building. I'm in this warehouse. I'm digging through shelves, and I find all these 2-inch tapes of Mikey D. And so I pulled out about 30 tapes or whatever, had them transferred and baked and transferred digitally. And I've been doing a lot of mastering and restoring and stuff like that. So once I got all the tapes restored, the project was ongoing for a lot of years, restoring all those tracks and whatnot. So when I finally got it to a point where I could send Mikey copies of it, he came up with the idea to go against himself 20 years later.
Yeah, because Trouble already had the original vocals, so all I did was ask him to remove the first verse, and I would write a new verse, which was 20 years later, and we would keep the original second verse, which was 20 years prior. So that's how we came up with Back to the Future.
But we had to do some things to make it sound like it went, you know, how it flowed together, like naturally. And
Right.
being that we was in two separate places, I was living in Miami, and Mike was up north, so he would send me the files, and then we'll just kind of make adjustments. I don't know if I think Mike, you might have did it in like 1 or 2 takes, maybe. I don't even think we did a lot of takes on that.
No, we didn't. Wasn't a bunch of nothing and all that. It was just went in.
Yeah, I think it just kind of came together naturally, and then I just made a couple of changes in the track, and that was it, really. It kind of just flowed. But that was all Mike. That was all Mike. I can't even say Mike had the vision on that one.
And I do have to toss some insight on that, Mikey. When you said, you know, like I did it in 1 or 2 takes, man. Not a lot of hip hop artists can actually say that, because that's talent right there, man. To be able to go in, do like a whole entire song in 1 or 2 takes, that's absolute talent.
Well, shoot, back then you had to be on point, man, because if not, the engineer would be tight. Because in order to punch in back then, he had to snip the tapes and all of that and tape it back.
Not only that, Mike, think about when we used to make tapes in the crib. You had no punch-in. So you had one-shot tape. I got tons of tapes of cats rhyming straight for like 20 minutes with no break, no breath, no nothing. You just let the beat rock, and you just had to flow. I think that's an art form that's missing with a lot of cats now. Especially when you have like the computer, we can edit everything in every 2 seconds, and cats are writing where their lines overlap each other so much.
Exactly.
Like, how do you perform that?
Exactly. And see, back then I got lucky with Trouble because, like a lot of the rhymes, I come into the studio premeditated. It's not like I write on the spot or I write to the beat. I already have the rhymes written. You know what I mean? It just was a lucky thing that Trouble had tracks to match. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. That was the formula that I used to use. Like, I used to just write rhymes the way that I would write them and then spit off of anything. Just recently, I started, Taylor making the rhymes around the beat. But back then, I got lucky with Trub because he had, like I said, he had beats that matched what I had already written.
And also, DJ Trouble, this question's for you. You are also the owner of 16F Music. Can you tell us a bit more about that, and how did it come to be for you? Also, who do you currently have signed to that right now?
16F was actually the apartment number I used to live in Brooklyn. And so when anybody heard music coming from the 4th floor window, I used to have these big subwoofers in my, 18-inch bass bottom scoops in my crib. You could hear my music from a block away. So it's like, yo, where the music coming from? It's coming from 16F. Everybody used to say, where the music coming from? 16F. So a lot of the production I did back then started in my bedroom in 16F. So when I came up with the label 16F Music, it was mainly to focus on the music I did in my bedroom back then. And which was like Rebels of Authority. I worked on like a bunch of remixes for different people. It's funny because now I'm trying to think of stuff. It's like I did the MC Price record, Price is Right, that came out of there, which was MC Price, rest in peace. He lived around the corner from me on another block. So everyone in the neighborhood knew I made beats, and they're like, yo, just ring 16F.
Hey, man, that's what's up, man. You know what I mean? It's actually pretty catchy, though. You know, it has at least that name has a story behind it. A lot of people just, on the top of their head, think of a label name and go, oh, that sounds good. But at least yours has, like, an actual story behind your company, man. That's actually a really, really amazing story.
Yeah, you know, like, you try to stay grounded with your roots with everything. You know, like, even with the people I dealt with, I've known Mikey. I was a fan of Mikey before I knew Mikey. And then when I met Mikey for the first time, and I shared this with him years later, it was at the New Music Seminar during the battle, and I was a young kid coming up, and I was trying to get into the Marriott. And I ran to Mikey. I was like, yo, you did your thing last night. And he's like, yo, you coming in? He was like, yo, come on. I said, I don't have a ticket. He said, don't worry about it. Come on, you're getting in with me. and he got me in there. And I didn't even know Mikey then. And then years later, to work with him was like, oh my God, it's like my dude right here. So,
Hey man, that's always an amazing feeling when you actually, you're a fan of someone, and next thing you know, you're in the studio with them, man. It's actually must have been a surreal moment for you when that opportunity actually happened.
yeah, because like I said, I was a fan from my telephone, coming in the house, I get rough. This is my high school years,
Yeah.
So even then, like, I was a fan of records that, like, it's funny because a lot of records that I feel like aren't appreciated as much with a lot of collectors, like even Holy War by Divine Force, even Be the Viper by Bill Blass and Vandy C, cats like that, like a lot of Brooklyn records, it's a lot of like hip hop records that I was just a fan of, that I heard in the streets that came about, that even amongst collectors and even some of the shows, they don't even acknowledge some of these cats anymore, that I think are like should be more acknowledged because they was the true sound of the streets.
Right.
I most definitely agree with that. I really do. Mikey, this one's for you. So you were a part of Central Sun Studios 845 MVP Cypher Series. Can you tell us a bit more about that, and how did it come to be for you?
Oh, the 845. All right, Central Sun Studios is a recording studio up here, upstate. My man John Eldred, who actually I met, he was a co-worker of mine that I met up here because I moved from Queens to upstate New York. Now, the 845, that's the area code of where all of these cats is from up this way. A bunch of younger cats, and I was invited down to one of their prior ciphers. You know what I mean? I kind of liked the vibe and all of that, and plus it was a mutual respect. That's what I really dug, because these are a lot of younger cats that actually had respect for the OG. You know what I mean? Had respect for the older generation, and like they didn't try to be big-headed about it. That we the new school and we taking over. They really had respect, so that kind of drew me to them. And then I started working with John Eldred in his studio, and I was like, yo, this is all right. So he played that beat for me. I remembered it from Incarcerated Scarfaces. He said, Mike, you got something for this? I was like, no doubt, because I just got through recording a song there. And so before I left, he asked me if I had something for that. So I spit a 16. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing I know, he posted on Facebook, yo, Mikey D spit a verse. Who want to jump on this cipher? Blah, blah, blah. And then all of the young cats, they started jumping on it. And that was the outcome of that project, which you see on that video, which is real dope, man. It's a 10-minute video, but everybody got their own flows, and I think the chemistry was dope.
And when you brought up there about how like those individuals, they were really respecting like the legends that paved the way and people that came before them, I like that, man. And unfortunately, this day and age, a lot of individuals don't really think about the legendary individuals like yourself, Mikey, and Trouble. A lot of people don't think about you guys, man. You guys really paved the way for a lot of individuals coming out of New York. So I do have to say on my behalf, man, thank you so much for what you guys have done for the hip-hop culture, because you guys really did make your mark and really did help pave the way for a lot of individuals coming out of the East Coast.
No doubt, man. The pleasure is all ours.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot of I call them silent heroes of the culture. That came up because like I remember, like I used to promote parties in New York called Car Wash, which was like the only hip hop showcase with Amanda Shear Demi, who was married to Ted Demi, who started Yo MTV Raps before then, and my boy Problems, and me and Problems used to promote the parties, putting on the show. You had like early showcase with like Tribe and all these cats, leaders of the new school, and so when you had these groundbreaking people who was on the forefront of what we call like what they call like the golden era or whatever. There was a lot of people who was behind the scenes who was creating a culture that was making it popping. That's just like, I feel like just like unsung heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, DJ Trouble, this one's for you. You also have done work with MC Price, as you mentioned earlier. And I have to ask you, how did you two initially get connected, like originally? Like, what's the story behind that?
MC Price, I used to, he lived on the block behind me. I lived on Park Place. He lived on Sterling Street. And I was cool with, I used to hang out on Sterling. I was cool with his whole family, like his sisters and brothers and whatnot. He was a little younger than me. And so what happened was, he came to me and said, hey, this teacher in the school wants to put him in the studio, this teacher named Mr. Walker. And so I met with Mr. Walker, and we went to Firehouse, legendary studio, Firehouse Studios in Brooklyn. And went there, my man DJ Ali, who used to produce for Half Mill and my boy Tat G. And I literally put the record together on the floor. They didn't have a thing for the table for the turntables. So they set the turntables on the floor, and I sampled everything. And within like 5 hours, I did both those tracks, and did the scratches on the floor and mixed it and walked away. And then a couple of weeks later, well, probably about a couple of months later, probably I ain't gonna say weeks. He hit me with the records, and I think there was only maybe 100 of those records pressed. And then at the time I was playing the Red Zone, which was run by Jessica and Puffy, Jessica Rosenblum and Puffy. I was playing, Flex would be downstairs, I'll be upstairs as well. So they hit me with the records. I used to rock the record in there, but like it didn't take off at the time. It got more popularity like 20 years later when it appeared on DJ Shadow Diminishing Returns mix. And then if you actually found a copy, like on Discogs, it like sells for like $1,600 right now. So it's like one of the, the top selling rarest independent records there is.
That's crazy when you said $1,600, man. That is a hefty price. And when you said Discogs, I have to say for the record, that site is an absolute gold mine for just research information as well, especially pertaining to the old school hip hop legends. I look at it as the Wikipedia of hip hop. That's what I look at it as in my eyes. That's where I get for individuals that I don't know a lot about when I do my research for the interviews. That's really where I look.
Yeah, I actually contribute some stuff up there. Like I have a site up there where, like, because I have way more vinyl than I need in my life right now. Like I'm a true vinyl junkie, true to the core. So like things I want to make room for, I post up there, and it's almost like a yard sale for me. Like I feel like music is made to be shared and with everyone, because you always gain you always find something new to enjoy.
Almost
music,
definitely. Like you said, music is endless. You know what I mean? I'm the same way with CDs. People ask me, why do you travel like 2 hours to go to the nearest mom and pop shop? And I'm like, because I'd rather a hard copy. I'd rather be able to hold the case in my hand, read the thank you notes. You know what I mean? Digital's good, but it's not the same. It's not the same feeling than being able to read the booklets.
Yeah, I feel like every vinyl is unique. Like, it's its own personality. And I was like, have you ever listened to music? Not you can hear music, but have you ever listened to the vinyl and hear the difference, what impacts you? It's the soundtrack of our lives, you know what I mean?
And when you're speaking of vinyl, I used to have my own little record player back in the day, and I think the very first record I actually had was Tupacalypse Now, Tupac's first album on vinyl. And the sound, it's just so authentic. It's such an amazing feel and sound when you listen to a vinyl record.
For me, the first rap record I remember that I didn't purchase, my cousin gave to me, was Treacherous 3 at the Party. And I still have that record to this day, which is crazy.
And Mike, you have to ask you this one. So on March 12th, which wasn't too long ago, you were a part of the Who Mag Distribution live video mixtape. I have to ask you, what was that inspiration like, and how did that come to be for you?
Oh, actually, that was on March 6th. That was, Rob Schwartz. Yeah, no, it's all good. Rob Schwartz from Who Magazine, yeah, that's my man. And I actually had a project released on Who Mag in 2013, I believe it was. It was called Off My Chest, and it was me telling the story of myself and L Cool J, but, you know, the true story, you know. And Who Mag, they're the ones that distributed that project. And so when he threw his party this year, he wanted to put a mixtape together with all of the Who Mag artists. So, you know, because my song was one of those, he put it on the tape. And what we did was we performed that whole mixtape as is. It was like back-to-back performances, you know what I mean? It was no pause and yo, it was back-to-back. You know, it was just off the chain. It was a nice networking party, and also, you know, it was just a dope event all around. Who Mag, yep.
And I have to say this, when you actually mentioned you got to tell the real story about the LL Cool J, man, I've been a fan of you for years. And when I first had you on the show, I think it was about like last month, and you told the LL Cool J story. I actually did not know that initially until I did my research, and I was like, whoa, like I have to ask him. Like that is really amazing to be able to have that opportunity to be able to help contribute to someone like LL Cool J, man. Like you actually helped define a legacy for him.
Yeah, well, you know, I was just there at the right time in his career. He was focused. He knew what he wanted to do. And, you know, I was just one of those people that was able, for him, he was able to learn something from me and others along his path to where he is today. You know, I'm glad that I could be a part of that. You know what I mean?
And if you don't mind me asking quickly when we're on the LL Cool J topic, and this is what I wanted to ask you like the last interview we had, but it really slipped my mind. But since we're back on that topic, when you actually were like alongside LL Cool J, you know, did you really think he'd be the megastar that he is today? Like, did you see that in him, or did that all come to a surprise for you?
You know what? I didn't doubt it because he had that drive. Like I could see the drive. Like he would do whatever it took to get to wherever it was that he wanted to be. So because he wanted to be in this situation that he's in right now where he is, he was willing to put that extra work in at an early age. And I saw that in him. You know what I'm saying? And me, I didn't, like I said, I didn't want that, man. I just wanted the street credibility. He wanted way more, and you could see it in him by the way he would move, how he would learn from other people, and you know what I'm saying? And he would take greatness from other people and apply it to what he was doing. And I definitely saw, you know, the work ethic in him. So, you know, I didn't know he was going to be, I didn't know how big he would be, but I knew he was going to make it because he had that drive early.
And DJ Trouble, you were also featured on the Shack Studios Rhythm Shack All-Stars album. I have to ask you, what was that experience like, and how did that initially come to be for you?
Well, the Rhythm Shack was a studio I had in Harlem, up on 129th and Broadway, with my fellow Shackers, TK, Carlos Best, Choco, DJ Choco, where shout out to Eshawn, Clergy a la Creme, the Maul Diz, Todd Mills, Diz, I mean, from the Mental Castaways or whatever. So we had the studio up there. It was a building. I felt like we had a studio, we had rehearsal space, we had office space, we had an art department, we had all types of stuff at an early age, but we were so young trying to manage a big facility at like 20 years old. So we was doing all this music and stuff, and I was working at, I used to work for Chemistry, which was PWL America Records, which Diamond D put out, you know, Edogene and the Bulldogs and stuff like that. So I came to the studio one day, and we had the Mental Castaways up there, and they created like a 5-song demo in like 24 hours. They just stayed up all night and made 5 songs, and I literally got them a deal the next day. And but the deal just didn't pan out for whatever reason. They got signed, but the album never came out. And then years later, it got leaked as the Lyrical Lunatics, which was a lot of the demos, which was came out as the Lyrical Lunatics, which technically is the Mental Castaway. So that was like annoying. Lyrical Lunatics was just a line that somebody said in one of the rhymes or whatever. But the Rhythm Shack All Stars was consistent of like The Chosen, Clergy, and it all started from TK's room. He had a studio in his bedroom up on the Upper West Side, which was I feel like I'm jumping around this story because so many parts to it, so many moving parts to it. Where he had this studio in his bedroom, and so when I was working at Downstairs Records, just going back to the beginning of it, I met Eshawn of The Chosen. He said, he was like, yo, you got to meet my man TK. Because I used to sell all the break beats out of Downstairs in the back in the 45 department, so all the rappers came in and stuff like that. So he took me up to TK crib, and TK played this group called Clergy a la Creme, which is on the Rhythm Shack All Stars. And so he was like, yo, I got this group. I would like you. First, I was Eshawn's DJ, so me and Eshawn did some demos and stuff. And then when he found Clergy, I fit the image of Clergy to get them a deal, whatever, which was supposed to be signed to Capitol. So I ended up joining Clergy, which is with Mumble Man Diz and Beady Knotted Boots. So we were the 3-man crew. And then after that, we ended up moving from TK's bedroom. We had the studio where we got the building on 129th. And the Rhythm Shack also was just a lot of music that was made at that studio. Long story, but it's so many moving parts there, so it's hard to just kind of give it a roundup real quick, you know?
Hey, man, it's completely understandable, you know, especially after all these years, you know, trying to put them together. But I do have to say, man, with that album, it's pretty unfortunate when albums like that actually get leaked out to the public without the artist being able to, you know, release it whenever they want to release it, man. It's always unfortunate that way when, you know, stuff gets leaked.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, also sometimes if it wasn't leaked, the music may have never gotten heard, and it wouldn't be respected now. So whoever leaked it, they might have did us a favor at that moment, even though nobody received any residual incomes from it or whatever. But it actually kept the name alive and kept us talking about it 20 years later. You know, so
that is
in that aspect, I think it worked. You know.
So, Mikey D, I have to ask you, I saw a picture on your Facebook of you and Master Ace. I have to ask you, how did you and him initially get connected? What's the story behind that?
Well, Master Ace, that picture was taken at the Who Mag event. But I've known Master Ace since I think we met at the 1989 New Music Seminar. We were both in that, and that's when we first started kicking it. But yeah, that picture is a recent picture. He came through the Rob Schwartz event. Yeah.
And I have to say, Master Ace is such a legendary individual. I actually just booked and locked him in for April 20th. I'm actually super excited to be able to have such a legendary East Coast cat on my radio platform.
Oh, yeah, that's dope, man. Ace is a cool dude.
No, I have to ask you, while we're on the topic of Master Ace, do you think any time in the future there would be a chance for, you know, Mikey D and Master Ace to do a collaboration track?
I mean, I wouldn't mark it out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, anything is possible. I'm still active. He's still active. You know, if we cross those paths, I'm pretty sure we could definitely make something work.
I think
that option is always open.
I think that right there, Mikey, would just be a legendary collaboration, man. A legendary album.
Yeah. I would definitely do something with Ace. Without a question.
So I have to ask you both, what's next for Mikey D and DJ Trouble Lee, man? You guys have any other projects, anything else you want to promote while you're still here on Outlaw Radio Live?
Yeah, we were talking about actually because I just moved back to Atlanta and setting up a studio here, bringing Mike down, working on some new stuff as well. You know, other and you know, with Mike, it's all about scheduling, or we might have to do it like we did Back to the Future. Just send me the files, and we work and send on the beats, and we just lay it that way.
Yeah, yeah, we about to get busy. Trust me, because the fat lady ain't singing yet. So just keep your eyes and ears open. We be there. We'll be there.
So I have to ask you: is that record going to be called Drama Side 2, or are you guys going to do something completely different? Like, are you going to catch us listeners by storm? I have to ask that.
No, I think it should be something fresh and new. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say that. Definitely catch them off guard. You know what I mean?
You guys are getting me excited for this, man. I'm telling you, hearing this right here on Outlaw Radio was getting me really excited for this, man. I'm looking forward to that album drop.
Yeah. Well, it's long overdue, so, you know, anything's possible, man. Just keep your ears and eyes open.
It won't take 20 years neither.
Nah, it definitely won't.
Let's hope not. You know what I mean? Let's not hope not, you know?
Now, we both in our zone now, so it's definitely going to be easy work, you know? It's what we love. Not like it's easy work. It's hard work, but we love the work we do, so it's easy for us. So,
it's passion.
Something real dope.
Yeah. Life, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Music is life. It's like, it's in you. Once it's in you, you can't get rid of it. You know, it's hip-hop in our blood.
That's it.
And that's some real talk, man, you know? You guys are absolute legends in the music industry. And I have to say, man, one more time, thank you so much for everything you did for hip-hop, man. Because like I said, I'm an East Coast guy myself, man. I grew up on East Coast hip-hop. And you guys really did help really put the East Coast on the map. You guys did a lot of amazing things for the East Coast hip-hop culture, man. So thank both of you guys, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, man.
No problem. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Anytime.
So this is the time in the interview, guys, that I give a chance for the individuals that come on the show. Just a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. And also your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you if they're not already doing so.
All right, Trump, it's all on you, brother.
All right. Shout-out to the Candy Store, Rebels of Authority, The Chosen, all my brothers at the Shack, Salon Remy, Mikey D, of course. DJ Elron, Tough Tom, my man Problem, who else? There's so many people coming off the top. It's hard to even name everybody right now. You know, go ahead, Mike, take over right now.
Oh man, with me, shout out to everybody that still loves hip hop, and that's that. Because the last time I gave shout outs, other people got mad, so I'm leaving it at that.
I got one more thing. I want to shout out to everyone who's been a loyal supporter of 16F Records, 16F Music from the beginning. Shout out to Mikey Thor and a lot of the cats up there who puts me on their blogs and everything like that, and who share the music once I get it ready to be released. And there's a lot of unreleased stuff that I want to put out. It's a lot of time remastering this stuff, and I'm not the most savvy when it comes to social media because I be trying to sleep half the time. I'm so tired from working in the studio. I'm trying to get all these projects mastered. Shout out to a lot of the new projects I'm working with like Ill and I'll Scratch, and other artists and stuff like that. You know, it's just trying to keep everything flowing, you know? Word. New music, new classics in the pipeline.
So if you guys you want to give your social media handles, that way our listeners can give you a follow?
Oh, this is Mikey D. You can get at me at @the_Mikey D on everything.
And with me, it's 16F Music on Instagram, Facebook, or even if you're on Discogs and you want to check out my store up there, you can look up Trub Life, TRUBLIFE as the seller. And it's a lot of vintage vinyl. Like I said, I'm purging my vinyl collection on some things. You know, and sometimes I throw some rare gems up there. Always make me an offer. Yeah.
So I do want to say, guys, thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live. Mikey, I do want to say it was great to have you back on the show. And DJ Trouble, it was an absolute honor to have you on the platform, man. I'm glad that I could make this happen. Mikey D and DJ Trouble together on the interview, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Some blessings, man.
Hey, man, most definitely. You guys have yourself a wonderful weekend, man. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.